Zhang Yi arrived in Blizzard City, a meeting with only a few participants was taking place in the high-level meeting room of the headquarters of the Command Center building. Zhu Zheng, the Supreme Commander of the Jiangnan region, Lan Xinchen, Secretary of the Commander's Office, and Sun Luxuan, Zhu Zheng's almost inseparable bodyguard. Apart from these three, there is also Tu Yunlai, the Director of the Operations Department, Deng Yuanbo, the Chairman of the Deng Group, and Deng Shintong, the Captain of the Heavenly God Squad. The people here are the most powerful figures in the entire Jiangnan region, apart from the 4 captains of the investigation team who are on missions outside the region. And they have gathered together today because of just one person. A person who Eclipse Moon has released, Li Tianlong, the leader of the Yunzhou forces. During the first battle, all 10 forces sent were annihilated, and Li Tianlong was the only survivor. However, he quickly lost his life after returning to Blizzard City. However, from the satellite phone he was carrying, they discovered something that Eclipse Moon had given to Blizzard City. Something that the boss of Eclipse Moon, the man wearing a gray newsboy cap and fond of wearing a gray suit and vest, had given to Blizzard City. This important information was delivered to Zhu Zheng's hands first. And this was the reason why Zhu Zheng had summoned so many senior executives of Blizzard City. At this time, the lights in the conference room were turned off, and light appeared on the huge screen, followed by the face of Ren Phoenix. The bigwigs sitting upright below all wanted to see what this arrogant young boss wanted to do. Deng Yuanbo asked Zhu Zheng, "This USB was in the pocket of Li Tianlong?" "Correct." Zhu Zheng replied. "Prepare the video." After a few seconds of video playback, the man in his 30s flashed a huge smile at the camera and waved hello. "Hi, everyone in the Jiangnan region. How are you? Please forgive me for this first meeting. I am Phoenix Ren, leader of the Eclipse Moon Group, and I am very happy to meet you all. Recently, it seems that we have had some minor conflicts, which have been really unpleasant for both sides." He made a gesture with his hands, pressing them down, and made a serious expression with a stern face. "I think we should all calm down for now. In fact, we shouldn't be enemies, because continuing the fight will not benefit either side." He held up one finger, and a cunning and indifferent light flashed in his eyes. "What we want is just a piece of land in the area you call the Central Plains for us to survive. Anyway, your country has lost so many people, and you won't be able to use such a huge piece of land anyway. Why not give some land to us poor wanderers? Of course, we will also be very grateful for your kindness and will always remember your kindness. So, let's stop this farce. Just withdraw all your soldiers, promise not to attack us in the future, and give us a piece of land. Then, we won't massacre the people on this land either." Phoenix Ren narrowed his eyes, his mouth curling into a smile like a fox. "Please think carefully about this, I await your response. But if we continue fighting, what will happen? I believe you have already seen the consequences. The previous mutant troops are the perfect example." The video basically ended there, and the people in the meeting room all had very unpleasant expressions on their faces. None of them were anything but incredibly angry. These bloody Ronin actually had such big ambitions, running to Huashu's land and claiming it for their own. Bang! Zhu Zheng slammed the table, and as a military man, a flame almost bursted from his eyes. "How dare they? How dare these Ronin come to our Huashu territory and cause trouble? They must be destroyed on the spot, without exception." Deng Shintong stood up, his slender physique and determined eyes revealing his confidence. "Commander Zhu, let me lead a team over there to destroy them. Give me 1 day, and I will come to see you with their heads in my hands." Zhu Zheng looked at Deng Shintong and a look of approval appeared in his eyes. Young people are full of energy. But at that moment, a coughing sound rang out in the meeting room. Cough, cough, cough. This voice made Zhu Zheng can't help but turn his head. Deng Yuanbo, the chairman of the Deng Group and the uncle of Deng Shintong, put down his right hand and said with a smile, "Why go to all that trouble dealing with these Ronin? Just use the Reaper of Love and bombard them directly." He was a little short, in his 50s, but looked younger than his age, with smooth skin and hardly any wrinkles. Only the Buddha-like face always carried a slight smile, reminding people of the words harmony brings wealth. No one could see any change in expression on his face. He was the head of the Deng family, known as the Eight-Faced Buddha, Deng Yuanbua. The Deng group provided at least half of the assistance in the field of technology in Blizzard City. Even Zhu Jing had to give him some face. Deng Shintong immediately said anxiously after hearing what Deng Yuanbua said, "Uncle, they are just some riffraff, why make such a big deal about it? I'll just go over there with my men and wipe them out." Deng Yuanbua gave him a smiling look and lightly pressed his hand. "Shintong, don't get excited. Sit down. Why are you young people so headstrong when things happen? Why don't you use your brains and think about it first?" Deng Shintong was still very respectful of his uncle's words, and obediently sat down. But from his dissatisfied expression and the tapping of his fingers on the table, it was clear that he still wanted to go and fight Eclipse Moon. Zhu Jing looked at Deng Yuanbua and said with a smile, "Mr. Deng, the Reaper of Love cannot be used casually." He crossed his arms and said seriously, "The Jiangnan region only has a limited number of Reapers of Love, and we have to explain each use to the other regions. The key is, if we only use it against a small group of Ronin, and use such a powerful weapon on our own land, aren't we just telling everyone that there's no one left in the Jiangnan region? I'm afraid that by then, the whole world will be laughing at us." Deng Yuanbua shook his head with a smile. "Compared to saving face, I think the real issue is more important. We still haven't figured out the strength of the Ronin organization. There are 10 mutant organizations, and although they are all from the outer city, many ants can kill an elephant. Not to mention that they are a group of hyenas. But such a powerful force was completely annihilated by Eclipse Moon in just 1 hour. I don't even think our investigation team would be able to do something like this." Deng Yuanbua's attitude was also very clear. This mission is too dangerous, and he doesn't want his nephew to take risks. Deng Shintong is a talent that the Deng family is focusing on cultivating, and great hopes are placed on him for the future. The son of a wealthy family does not play in a dangerous place. Even when carrying out missions in the past, the Deng family would use all their resources every time to obtain enough information before taking action. But the current situation is that the Jiangnan region has too little information on the Eclipse Moon. Deng Yuanbua was worried. At this time, Tu Yunlai, the Minister of Operations, also spoke up. "I don't think that Eclipse Moon is stronger than the investigation team. According to our investigation, Eclipse Moon is from Neon Kanto, and its members are of a complex composition. They include gangsters, office workers, witches, and even students and stay-at-home parents. Even though they have awakened their supernatural powers, they have not undergone professional training like the investigation team. This can be seen from the previous video. We are amateurs against amateurs, so naturally it is easy to appear as if they were very strong. However, in reality, this is not the case. In terms of combat skills, the Heavenly God Squad is completely superior to them." Zhu Jing also said, "And this time, it's not just the members of the Heavenly God Squad who are acting. I have also transferred some of the best mutants from the outer city to cooperate with them. These people, together with the Heavenly God Squad, and with the help of our entire Jiangnan region, there will be no problem taking down these Ronin." Deng Yuanbua could only smile when he saw Zhu Jing speaking so solemnly. As the head of the Deng family, he had a certain status and position in Blizzard City, but it was impossible for him to openly disagree with Zhu Jing. However, he tactfully proposed another suggestion. "In that case, can the members of the other investigation teams be transferred back first to participate in this operation together?" Lan Xincheng pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and said calmly, "The investigation teams for demons and reincarnation are both carrying out very important assignments. If we talk about the level of the assignments, I'm afraid they won't be much lower than Linhai City. The Jiangnan region is just too big. Right now, they are busy flattening the mountains and rivers and purging internal and external chaos. No one has any time to spare." Upon hearing the names of the other investigation teams, Deng Shintong immediately frowned. "There's no need to wait for them to return. For this mission, we Heavenly God Squad can go ahead and attack. If we have to wait for them to return, I'm afraid these guys will have long since run away. There was an underlying competitive relationship between the 6 investigation teams, all hoping to become the leader of the 6. And Deng Shintong, the noble young master, was even more concerned about his reputation. If it gets out that he has to ask other investigation squads for help on a mission, won't people laugh their heads off? Deng Yuanbo frowned slightly and glanced at his nephew, feeling a little helpless. But before he could say anything, Zhu Jing made a direct decision. You're right, time waits for no man. What if these guys run away to another city and cause more killings there? The Heavenly God Squad will be in charge of this mission. We must quickly end this farce. Even though they knew there were risks, there were some things they had to do. The investigation squad's purpose was not to go on perfectly safe missions, but to use their strength and blood to fight for a bright future for this land. Deng Shintong said with a firm gaze, "Yes, Commander." Zhu Jing looked at him with a stern expression, but his gaze was a little softer. After the mutants in the outer city have gathered, you need to meet with them. After all, they are cooperating with your operation. Deng Shintong ran his hand along his chin and suddenly asked, "Is Zhang Yi from Tianhai City joining us on this operation?" Zhu Jing nodded with a smile. His name is indeed on the list. Zhang Yi chatted with Bai Li Changqing at the password bar and learned some about the changes in Linhai City. He already had some calculations in his mind. For this operation, his personal safety would still be the first priority. While ensuring his own safety, he would try his best to kill as many Ronin as possible. After all, there were only 13 people in Eclipse Moon, and Zhang Yi knew very well that they were able to cause chaos in Linhai City only because they were not restricted by any power. The Jiangnan region has too large a jurisdiction to concentrate a large number of troops against them. Otherwise, with the 6 investigation teams and 5,000 Yan Yunwei at their disposal, the Eclipse Moons would have no chance of winning even if their numbers were multiplied many times over. Therefore, the end of this farce is inevitable, but the process is still unpredictable. The Eclipse Moons are not stupid enough to fight the Jiangnan region to the bitter end. If they choose to run away, or keep on scurrying around Jiangnan region, that would be the most troublesome problem. Apart from Blizzard City, the headquarters of Jiangnan region, there is hardly any city in Jiangnan region that can contend with them. After all, that is an organization that has gathered the most vicious thugs in the Kanto region. However, except for Tianhai City. If they run to Zhang Yi's territory, they won't be able to get any advantage either. It's just that Zhang Yi doesn't want to see that kind of result. In the afternoon, Zhang Yi received a message from Wan Xinchen. He was told to go to the combat center the next morning to attend a combat meeting. Zhang Yi laughed when he read the message. I thought Commander Zhu would want to talk to me alone. Looks like I was wrong. He shrugged at Bai Li Changqing. This was a good thing. It meant that Commander Zhu Jing didn't care much about his presence, and Zhang Yi was happy not to be noticed. Bai Li Changqing laughed heartily. The people summoned from the outer city this time are all first-class experts. You're not the only one. Commander Zhu doesn't want to meet with each of you individually either, so it's more convenient to chat with everyone together. His eyes flashed. After all, this time, it involves very important and complicated matters. There's a lot of information you don't know, and I have to explain it to you one by one. Zhang Yi nodded. That's good. He was also very interested in these top experts from the outer city. Last time, there were too many people, and he couldn't tell who was strong and who wasn't. This time, due to the special nature of the mission, the people who came were definitely masters of extraordinary strength. It would be nice to exchange ideas with them. As Zhang Yi thought this, he unconsciously forgot one thing in his heart: his strength was top-notch in the entire Jiangnan region. This was Zhang Yi's old problem. His overly cautious attitude made him accustomed to valuing others. However, since Zhu Jing didn't see him today, then Zhang Yi reached out and knocked on the black plexiglass table, smiling and saying to Bai Li Changqing, "Let's drink together then." Bai Li Changqing laughed and pressed the service bell. "Yes, let's drink to our heart's content today." Zhang Yi has always had a good drinking capacity, and that night, he and Bai Li Changqing and the others emptied many bottles.